When Alex, a self-made music mogul, gets a wedding invite from his ex, Sophia, now a bank CEO, he's blindsided. Her new husband, Ethan, mocks him as a nobody. But Alex isn't who they think. In one bold move, he flips the script, exposing their arrogance and shaking their world. Will his calculated revenge cost them everything? The Miami sunrise painted the sky in streaks of orange as Alex sat at his penthouse desk, sipping black coffee. His phone buzzed with notifications. Tour dates confirmed, a new single climbing the charts, but his focus shifted when a courier knocked. A pristine white envelope, sealed with gold wax, landed in his hands. The sender's name hit like a gut punch, Sofia Alvarez. His ex-wife, who'd walked out 5 years ago, now a bank CEO. The invitation inside announced her wedding to Ethan Caldwell, a Wall Street heir, with a handwritten note. Hope you'll come. Alex's jaw tightened. Sophia's words weren't an olive branch. They were a challenge, a subtle jab at the life she'd left behind. She'd always seen his music as a pipe dream, urging him to chase real success. Now, with his music empire grossing $900 million, her invitation felt like a taunt. Come see how much better I'm doing. He tossed the envelope onto the counter, its weight lingering in his mind. Ignoring it was tempting, but something stirred. Curiosity? Pride? Whatever it was, it pushed him to act. He called Leo, Sophia's younger brother, who answered with a laugh. She sent you the invite? Ball's a move. Leo, a DJ with a knack for cutting through pretense, had stayed close to Alex post-divorce, drawn to his raw talent. Ethan's a tool, man. Thinks he's God's gift to finance. You showing up could shake things. Alex smirked, already picturing the scene. Leo's words lit a spark. He'd go, not to beg for approval, but to remind Sophia who he'd become. Days later, Alex stepped into the Miami Beach venue, a sprawling oceanfront estate pulsing with wealth. Guests in tailored suits and glittering dresses mingled under crystal chandeliers, their laughter sharp with status. Alex, in a simple black suit, moved through the crowd like a shadow, unnoticed by the elite. He grabbed a whiskey from a passing server, scanning for Sophia. She stood near the stage, radiant in white, her smile calculated as she charmed a group of investors. Ethan hovered nearby, his posture screaming entitlement. Leo caught Alex's eye from across the room, raising a glass with a grin that promised trouble. Told you it'd be a circus, he mouthed, weaving through the crowd to join him. Ethan's already sizing you up. Guy's got no clue who you are. Alex nodded, sipping his drink, his calm masking a brewing storm. He hadn't come to start a fight, but he wasn't here to play small either. Sophia's gaze flicked toward him, brief but loaded, before she turned back to her guests. The air thickened with unspoken history. Ethan approached, his stride oozing confidence. You're the ex, right? He said, voice loud enough to draw eyes. Sophia mentioned you. Still tinkering with music? The jab landed, sharp and deliberate, but Alex didn't flinch. Something like that, he replied, his tone even. Ethan leaned closer, his smirk widening. Do us all a favor, stay out of her life. She's moved on to better things. The words hung heavy, a gauntlet thrown down in front of a growing audience. Leo stepped in, his grin sharp. Careful, Ethan. You're poking a bear you don't know. Ethan scoffed, dismissing Leo with a wave, but the crowd's murmurs grew. Alex felt the weight of their stares, the room's energy shifting. He could walk away, let Ethan's arrogance slide, but the invitation's note echoed in his mind. Hope you'll come. Sophia had wanted him here, to see her triumph. Now, she'd see his. I don't think you understand, Alex said, pulling out his phone with deliberate calm. I'm not here to chase Sophia. He tapped the screen, opening his bank's app, the balance glaring. $900 million. Ethan's eyes narrowed, sensing a shift, but not grasping its scale. Alex's next words were a blade, clean and precise. I'm here to close my account at your bank. The room stilled, a collective inhale as Ethan's smirk faltered. Sophia froze mid-conversation, her glass trembling. The game had just begun. The silence in the Miami Beach estate was deafening, every guest holding their breath as Alex's words, closing his $900 million account, hung in the air like a guillotine. Ethan's eyes darted to Sophia, seeking a lifeline, but she stood rigid, her champagne flute trembling. Alex pocketed his phone, his expression unreadable, while the crowd's whispers grew into a low hum. Leo leaned against a pillar, sipping his drink with a smirk, clearly savoring the chaos unfolding. Ethan forced a laugh, brittle and unconvincing. "You're bluffing," he said, stepping closer to Alex, his voice carrying a desperate edge. "No one walks away from that kind of money just to make a point." Alex raised an eyebrow, unfazed. "It's not a point. It's a decision." He turned to the crowd, his voice steady but loud enough to carry. "Your bank's been managing my investments for years. I trusted Sophia's leadership. But if her husband thinks I'm a nobody, maybe it's time to take my business elsewhere." Sophia pushed through the guests, her heels clicking sharply on the marble floor. "Alex, stop," she hissed, her tone a mix of panic and command. "This isn't the place." But her eyes betrayed her. She knew the stakes. Losing a $900 million account could tank her bank's quarterly earnings, maybe even her reputation. Alex met her gaze, unflinching. "You invited me, Sophia. You wanted me to see your world. Now you're seeing mine." Leo chimed in, unable to resist. "Told you, Ethan. Wrong guy to mess with." He pulled out his phone, already recording, his DJ instincts sensing a moment that would live forever online. Ethan's face reddened as he snapped, "Stay out of this, Leo." But the crowd was no longer on his side. Phones emerged from pockets, screens glowing as guests searched Alex's name. Gasps rippled through the room as results loaded. Articles about his sold-out European tours, his chart-topping jazz albums, his tech investments. A woman nearby whispered to her companion, "He's the guy behind that viral Tokyo performance." Another added, "His label's worth $500 million alone." Ethan's bravado crumbled as he overheard, his hands clenching into fists. He turned to Sophia, his voice low but sharp. "You said he was a failure, a dropout with no future." Sophia's lips parted, but no words came. The accusation hung between them, exposing cracks in their polished facade. Alex seized the moment, stepping forward. "You assumed a lot, Ethan. About me, about what success looks like." He tapped his phone again, pulling up an email draft to his financial advisor, the subject line clear. "Initiate account transfer." "This isn't personal," he continued, his voice calm but cutting. "It's business. Your bank doesn't value its clients, so I'm done." He hit send, and a notification pinged audibly, sealing the decision. The crowd erupted into murmurs, some guests typing furiously, others leaning in to catch every word. Sophia grabbed Ethan's arm, pulling him aside. "Fix this," she whispered, her voice trembling with fury. Ethan shook her off, his confidence replaced by desperation. "You fix it," he shot back. "You knew who he was, and let me walk into this." Their argument drew more eyes, the wedding turning into a public unraveling. Leo sidled up to Alex, grinning. "You just turned their fairy tale into a reality show." Alex didn't smile back. He felt no joy in this, only a quiet resolve. He'd spent years building his empire, not to prove Sophia wrong, but to prove himself right. Now, her world was shaking, and he was the earthquake. "Let's see how they handle the aftershocks," he said, finishing his whiskey and setting the glass down. As he moved toward the exit, a guest, a venture capitalist Alex recognized from a past deal, intercepted him. "You're pulling $900 million? Where's it going?" Alex shrugged, keeping it vague. "Somewhere that respects what I bring to the table." The man nodded, impressed, and slipped him card. "Let's talk. Your moves are bold." Alex pocketed it, his mind already elsewhere. He wasn't here to network. He was here to close a chapter. Outside, the ocean breeze hit him, carrying the faint sound of waves. Sophia's voice called out, sharp and urgent. "Alex, wait." He turned, seeing her hurry down the steps, her wedding gown trailing like a ghost. "You don't have to do this," she said, her tone softer now, almost pleading. "We can work something out." Alex studied her, seeing the ambition that had once drawn him to her, now laced with fear. "You made your choice 5 years ago," he said. "This is mine." He walked away, the city's lights sprawling before him, a reminder of everything he'd built without her. Behind him, the reception buzzed with gossip, phones capturing every angle of Ethan's unraveling. Alex didn't look back. He'd started something tonight, and the fallout was just beginning. Alex strode down the oceanfront steps, the Miami night air sharp against his skin as Sophia's plea echoed behind him. Her words, "We can work something out," carried no weight. He'd heard her promises before, back when she'd tried to mold him into her vision of success. Now, with his $900 million empire at his back, he owed her nothing. His phone buzzed relentlessly, texts from Leo, notifications from advisors confirming the account transfer. The move was real, and the financial world was already reacting. Inside the venue, chaos reigned. Ethan stormed toward the bar, snatching a whiskey and downing it in one gulp. His hands shook as he scrolled through his phone, headlines already surfacing. Bank faces crisis as $900 million client exits. Guests clustered in tight circles, their voices a mix of shock and glee. "Did you see his face?" one woman whispered, her phone recording Ethan's retreat. Another tapped out a tweet. #Miami Money Blunder. Never underestimate the nobody. The internet was eating it alive. Sophia, cornered by a board member, forced a smile as she deflected questions about the bank's stability. "It's a misunderstanding," she said, her voice tight. "We'll resolve it." But the board member's frown deepened. His phone opened to a stock app showing her bank's shares dipping in after-hours trading. She scanned the room for Ethan, spotting him arguing with a server over another drink. Her stomach churned. This wasn't just a wedding gone wrong. It was a career in freefall. Leo, still filming, caught up with a group of influencers near the stage. "This is going viral," he said, showing them his clip of Ethan's earlier outburst. One influencer, with 1 million followers, uploaded it instantly, captioning it. "When you mess with the wrong X likes and retweets poured in, each ping like a nail in Ethan's ego." Leo texted Alex, "You broke the internet, man." Alex, now blocks away, didn't reply. He was done with the spectacle. Ethan, oblivious to the growing digital storm, confronted Sophia. "You set me up," he hissed, his voice slurring slightly. "You knew he was loaded and let me walk into that trap." Sophia's eyes flashed with anger. "I didn't know he'd pull the account," she snapped. "You're the one who had to play alpha male." Their argument drew stares, guests pretending to sip drinks while absorbing every word. A finance reporter in the crowd typed notes, sensing a scoop. Alex, meanwhile, hailed a cab, his mind racing. Closing the account wasn't impulsive. It was strategic. Sophia's bank had been skimming high fees while offering mediocre returns. He'd been planning to move his funds for months, but Ethan's arrogance had accelerated the timeline. In the cab, he called his financial advisor, Mia. "It's done," he said. "Wire the funds to the new firm by morning." Mia, unfazed, confirmed, already in motion. The bank's board is panicking. Back at the venue, Sophia tried to salvage the night. She took the microphone, her voice steady despite the tremor in her hands. "Thank you all for celebrating with us," she said, forcing cheer. "Let's keep the party going." But the crowd's energy had shifted. Half were on their phones, the other half whispering about the bank's looming losses. Ethan, now at a corner table, scrolled through X, his face paling as he saw his name trending alongside #DropoutRevenge. A guest, a hedge fund manager, approached Sophia. "Is it true? $900 million? He asked, his tone skeptical but urgent. Sophia nodded, choosing honesty. "We're addressing it," she said, but her confidence wavered. The manager walked away, already dialing his broker. Sophia's phone buzzed with an email from her CFO. "Emergency board meeting tomorrow. Be ready." She gripped the table, the weight of her miscalculation sinking in. Alex arrived at his studio, a converted warehouse where he'd built his music empire. He sat at his piano, fingers tracing the keys, grounding himself. The night's events replayed. Ethan's taunt, Sophia's panic, the crowd's shift. He hadn't planned to upend their lives, but their dismissal of him had ignited something. He began playing, a raw melody emerging, each note a release of years of being underestimated. Sophia, back at the venue, slipped into a quiet hallway, away from the chaos. She dialed her assistant. "Give me everything on Alex's portfolio," she said. "Now." The assistant hesitated. "It's public, ma'am. He's been on Forbes' radar for a year." Sophia's breath caught. She'd ignored Alex's rise, assuming he'd fade into obscurity. Now, her bank and her marriage were paying the price. Ethan, meanwhile, stumbled outside, the humid air doing little to clear his head. A notification popped up, a meme of his stunned face captioned, "When you insult a billionaire." He cursed, hurling his phone into the sand. The wedding, meant to cement his status, had instead exposed his fragility. He knew Sophia would never forgive him for this, and the board wouldn't either. Alex, lost in his music, didn't hear his phone buzz again. Leo's latest text read, "They're imploding. You good?" Alex was more than good. He was free, not just from Sophia's shadow, but from a need to prove anything to anyone. The melody grew stronger, a testament to a life built on his own terms, as the city hummed beyond his walls. The Miami dawn broke over Alex's studio, sunlight filtering through the warehouse windows as he finished his late-night session. His new melody, born from the wedding's chaos, looped on his soundboard, raw and unpolished. His phone, now silent after hours of notifications, buzzed with a new message from Mia, his financial advisor. Funds fully transferred. New firms ready. Bank stock down 8%. Alex exhaled, the weight of his decision settling. He'd reshaped Sophia's world in one night, but the fallout was just beginning. Across town, Sophia sat in her penthouse office, the city's skyline a stark reminder of her precarious position. Her assistant slid a tablet across the desk, displaying a financial blog post. CEO's wedding blunder triggers $900 million client loss. Sophia's jaw clenched as she scrolled through comments calling her leadership reckless. Her board meeting loomed in hours, and she knew they'd demand answers. She dialed her PR team. "Spin this as a strategic pivot," she instructed. "We're not losing ground, we're streamlining." Her voice wavered, betraying her doubt. Ethan, meanwhile, nursed a hangover in their shared condo, the TV blaring a morning show dissecting hashtag Miami Money Blunder. A pundit mocked his dropout jab, replaying Leo's video of his stunned reaction. Ethan muted the screen, his hands shaking as he checked X. His name trended alongside memes comparing him to a cartoon villain undone by his own hubris. A text from his father, a Wall Street titan, flashed, "Fix this or you're cut off." Ethan's stomach dropped. His marriage and status hung by a thread. Alex stepped outside, the morning heat already rising. He walked to a nearby cafe, ordering an espresso while his phone buzzed again. Leo's message read, "Board's freaking out. Sophia's on damage control. You're a legend." Alex didn't reply, his focus shifting to a call from a music producer in LA. "Your name's everywhere," the producer said. "This drama's boosting your streams. Want to drop that new track now?" Alex hesitated, then agreed. The chaos was fuel. He'd turn it into art. At the bank's headquarters, Sophia faced a room of stone-faced board members. The chairman, a grizzled veteran, leaned forward. "Losing a $900 million client over a personal spat? Explain." Sophia straightened, her voice steady despite her racing pulse. "The client's exit was planned," she lied. "We're shifting focus to smaller, high-growth accounts." A younger board member scoffed, holding up his phone. "X says you didn't know who he was." Sophia's smile tightened. She was losing control. Ethan, desperate to salvage his image, called a contact at a rival bank. "Can you take a $900 million account?" he asked, voice low. The contact laughed. "After you insulted the guy? No way. He's toxic to you now." Ethan hung up, his options dwindling. He opened his laptop, drafting an apology email to Alex, but each word felt hollow. He'd built his identity on being untouchable. Now, he was a punchline. He deleted the draft and poured another drink. Alex, back at his studio, met with his team to plan the single's release. "Make it raw," he told them. "No polish, just truth." His manager nodded, already drafting a campaign tying the track to his viral moment. A text from a tech investor interrupted. "Interested in your next venture? Name a time." Alex pocketed the phone, his mind on the music. Success wasn't about revenge. It was about building something no one could take away. Sophia's meeting ended with a warning. Stabilize the bank or face a vote of no confidence. She left the room, her phone buzzing with a call from Ethan. "I'm trying to fix this," he snapped. "You're not helping." Sophia cut him off. "You made this mess. Own it." She hung up, her thoughts turning to Alex. She'd underestimated him, assuming he'd never rise above his roots. Now, her empire teetered because of it. She opened her laptop, searching for his latest work. Her curiosity piqued despite herself. Online, the story gained momentum. A viral thread on X detailed Alex's rise from high school dropout to music mogul, with fans posting clips of his performances. He didn't just win, he redefined the game, one user wrote. Another shared a remix of Ethan's Meltdown, now set to Alex's latest single. The internet's appetite for drama fueled Alex's legend, but he stayed offline, focused on his craft. Ethan, spiraling, called a friend in PR. "Bury this," he demanded. The friend sighed. "It's too big. Best you can do is disappear for a while." Ethan slammed the phone down, his anger turning inward. He'd married Sophia for her power, but now her failure threatened his own. He packed a bag, considering a retreat to his family's Hamptons estate, but even that felt like admitting defeat. Alex, unaware of Ethan's unraveling, played his new track for Leo, who'd stopped by the studio. "This is fire," Leo said, nodding to the beat. "You turned their mess into your masterpiece." Alex shrugged, his fingers still on the keys. "It's not about them. It's about me." The melody carried his truth, a life built on passion, not spite. As the city buzzed outside, he knew the real victory was staying true to himself. Alex woke to the hum of Miami's morning traffic, his phone already buzzing with alerts. His new single, released hours ago, had surged to the top of the charts, fueled by the viral fallout of #MiamiMoneyBlunder. He ignored the notifications, brewing coffee and sitting at his piano. The melody from last night's session lingered in his fingers, a quiet anchor amid the storm he'd unleashed. A text from Leo flashed, boards grilling Sophia. "Ethan's MIA. You're untouchable." Alex set the phone down, uninterested in gloating. At the bank's headquarters, Sophia faced a packed boardroom, the air thick with tension. The chairman slammed a report on the table. The bank stock now down 12%. "Your personal drama cost us $900 million, he said, his voice cold. Sophia stood, her posture defiant. "I'm negotiating with new clients to offset the loss," she countered, handing out a proposal for a high-risk tech fund. The board murmured, skeptical but intrigued. She had 1 week to prove her worth or lose her title. Ethan, meanwhile, holed up in a South Beach hotel, avoiding calls from his father and Sophia. His laptop screen glowed with job listings. His Wall Street connections had dried up overnight. A news alert pinged. Bank CEO's husband faces backlash for client insult. He winced, the weight of his mistake crushing. He drafted a public apology on X, blaming stress, but deleted it. No words could undo the damage. He booked a flight to New York, hoping distance would dull the humiliation. Alex met his team at the studio, finalizing plans for a national tour. His manager, Carla, showed him streaming numbers. Millions had listened in hours. "The drama's your rocket fuel," she said. Alex shook his head. "It's the music, not the gossip." He signed off on tour dates, adding a free Miami show for local fans. A call from a charity interrupted, requesting he headline a fundraiser. He agreed, redirecting his newfound spotlight to something meaningful. Sophia, back at her office, pored over Alex's portfolio, piecing together his rise. Articles detailed his investments in green tech and indie labels, moves she'd never imagined from the dreamer she'd left. Her assistant knocked, holding a phone. "It's the new client," she said. Sophia took the call, pitching her fund with fierce precision. The client hesitated, but agreed to meet. She hung up, her resolve hardening. She'd rebuild, not for Ethan, but for herself. Ethan's flight landed in New York, where he faced his father's icy stare in a Manhattan penthouse. "You've embarrassed the family," his father said, cutting his allowance. Ethan argued, citing his marriage to Sophia, but his father dismissed it. "She's fighting for her job. Your baggage." Ethan left, directionless, his phone buzzing with a text from Sophia. "We need to talk." He ignored it, knowing their partnership was fracturing under the weight of his error. Alex played his free show that night, the Miami crowd electric with energy. Fans chanted his name, some holding signs referencing the wedding drama. He ignored the noise, letting the music speak. Raw, soulful, his truth in every note. Leo joined him on stage for a surprise DJ set, the crowd roaring as they blended jazz and beats. Backstage, a reporter asked Alex about the bank. "I moved on," he said simply. "They'll figure it out." Sophia watched the show's live stream from her office. Her work paused. Alex's performance, unapologetic and free, stirred something she hadn't felt in years. Regret, not for losing him, but for dismissing his path. She closed her laptop and called Ethan. "Where are you?" she demanded. His silence confirmed what she suspected. He was running. She ended the call, her focus shifting. The bank was her fight now, not their marriage. The next morning, Alex read a headline. Bank CEO pitches bold recovery plan. Sophia's strategy was gaining traction, her tenacity undeniable. He felt no bitterness, only clarity. His phone rang, Sophia's number. He answered, expecting a plea. Instead, she said, "I was wrong about you. Good luck, Alex." Her voice held no warmth, just finality. He hung up. No words needed. The past was closed. Alex walked to his studio, the city alive around him. His tour loomed, his music thriving, his life his own. Sophia would claw her way back, or she wouldn't. That was her story now. Ethan's fall would continue, a lesson in consequences. Alex sat at his piano, playing a new riff, each note a step forward. He'd won, not by tearing them down, but by building himself up, free from their shadows.